Pokken Tournament, one of the coolest looking spin-off games with a concept that fans have been wanting for years. Every time I bring it up, I always mention how I casually enjoy playing the single player mode, and a big reason for that is the visual style of the setting and characters that we meet in the story. Yeah, that's right, there are characters, and let me tell you, these designs are pretty sweet. When it comes to the protagonist, I don't really know if I have all that much to say though. Their designs aren't totally plain, they look like they fit in the world of Pokemon, and they've got this sporty look to them that makes sense in Pokken Tournament. But these are base designs that are very customizable, as most video game protagonists are. The main thing I should mention is that they have an earpiece that all trainers in the game have as a means of communicating and synergizing with their Pokemon. Coupled with the fact that they don't get the same kind of further characterization of the main series protagonist, all I can really say is that they look cool and it'd be better to spend more time on the characters with some speaking roles. So what better place to start than with the character constantly at our side, Nia. So Nia is basically our guide in the Farum region, and she accompanies the main character throughout the story. I don't know what exactly you would call this style, but I like it. While she isn't exactly like an extremely skilled mentor, she's still important for leading the player, so details like the long hair and glasses give the impression of her being an older, more experienced woman, something like a teacher or tutor or older sister. Her clothing is more fashion forward, but the belt with the side pouch makes her look at least a little prepared. Though the cool details come when you learn that her partner Pokemon of choice is Weavile, and immediately her color palette clicks into place. She wears predominantly blue and red with the white possibly resembling the claws. The pennant on her neck is even the same as what Weavile has on its forehead. The use of vertical lines mirrors the patterns on Weavile's feathers, I guess you would call them. Also, the little bandana she has on her hip looks like Weavile's tail. I really like how a lot of characters in this game do that, where they have clothing that honestly looks pretty normal, but really takes influence from their partner Pokemon without being extremely overt. I also might as well mention that because Nia follows you around and shows up in menus, there is the option to customize her clothing. And like, there are a lot of options, one for every season and occasion, even different holidays. I am absolutely shocked that this woman has not gotten more fan art. Nobody better send me any at GatorEXP on X, formerly Twitter.com. My personal favorite is a sporty look. Anyway, might as well move on to the next major character in the story, Anne. At first, she's presented as this mysterious trainer who eventually enlists the player's help with stopping Shadow Mewtwo, and because of this, her design is pretty basic in the interest of keeping things mysterious. The cloak is a purplish color meant to resemble Mewtwo. Her hair is also about the same color as the regular Mewtwo's body, with one long strand poking out from the hood. It could be meant to look like a tail or even add some asymmetry to her design, in the same way Shadow Mewtwo has a giant spike coming out of one of its shoulder. She's also got bright blue eyes which stand out from her hooded face, giving a mystical appearance, of course, to tie into the big plot involving the legendary Pokemon. She also has this brooch on her cloak that's important to the story. It's like a fragment of a synergy stone, and synergy is represented in the game with pentagonal shapes. From here, a good amount of other characters are League Masters, basically gym leaders. While important, they don't have a whole lot of speaking roles relevant to the lore, but are still interesting and have some cool designs. First is Travis, and here is yet another perfect example of how the clothing these characters wear can look totally normal, but when you place their partner Pokemon next to them, it all comes together. Travis's blue hoodie is the same color as Garchomp's body. Wearing it with the hood off even kind of adds a little piece of clothing to the back reminiscent of Garchomp's fin. Obviously, having a bright sweater vest, it looks like, partially obscured by an open jacket, is a perfect way to mimic the patterns on Garchomp's belly. And lastly, the jacket just looks really neat, a great way of giving him a cooler than you feeling like any good dragon trainer would have. The patterns even resemble the spikes that pop up in Mega Garchomp. Next up is Keith. With the light blue jacket, the diamond patterns on the side, and the white scarf, his partner Pokemon is obviously Walking Wake. Suicune. This one feels kinda basic, but I think making it all more elegant and proper was the right choice to match Suicune. You could really take off the scarf and the jacket and he'd just look like a regular anime boy. Though I do love the gold trim on the jacket, part of me wants to say that's a little nod to Pokemon Gold, maybe? Okay, this next character I will admit looks very obvious, but still kind of totally normal. This is Erin. I bet you could easily guess her signature Pokemon is Braixen, though I've got to say that I think this is a cool design. Erin is very obviously younger than the other characters we meet, so this geeky tomboyish outfit is pretty in character. I mean, she's got a gamer headset, and yes, even the foxtail keychain, you can't tell me you've never seen anyone at an anime convention wearing one of those. Really, it's just kind of neat how many pieces of her clothing are one-to-one with Braixen's appearance. Her hair is like the big ears with how it goes outward, the scarf is like the tuft of fur. The way her overalls are kind of baggy at the end have a similar shape to Braixen's fur skirt, and then the leggings are just straight up what Braixen has. Maybe this is just a better case of how human Braixen appears, to the point that you could basically cosplay as one while still wearing normal clothing. Then we have the League Champion, Glenn. And yeah, we're really in the territory of obvious Pokemon inspired clothing. I know he's basically just wearing fighter's clothing and Machamp is basically just a man anyway, but look at them, they're twins. While the gray is meant to be influenced by Machamp's body, I think it's also cool that it has red trim just like Machamp's body when it synergy bursts. I've always really liked red Machamp. Also, the way that Glenn has a belt and brown cloth on his waist, it resembles the championship belt and undies that his Pokemon wears. There's still the Grandmaster Alyssa. Her partner Pokemon is Pikachu, and I think she really pulls off the flashy Pokemon style while still being something you could see in real life. Obviously there's a yellow and black, but I find the orange on her belt and coat pretty interesting. It isn't really the same as Pikachu's red cheeks, but it could be more like Raichu's body, or even the orange that we see in Pikachu Libre. Her necklace has a lightning bolt, and I love how the belt on the open coat is basically just Pikachu's ear. I also noticed that there are a lot of triangles all over her, bringing in the shape language of speed and danger, fitting of a champion who uses an electric Pokemon. Lastly, we have these characters that'll just kind of all bundle together, Walter, Nora, and Jake. They're all dressed pretty similarly with these robes and cloaks and sandals. Walter uses a Gengar, so he's a bit wider and his hair shape kind of resembles the spikes and ears. Nora uses a Gardevoir, and I couldn't exactly find much in all that. Aside from her very long hair and the slit in her robes, it kind of looks like Gardevoir's dress. Though even if there isn't a lot to look like her signature Pokemon, I love this design and she maintains this uniform look while still being so unique. And then there's Jake, he's just a guy. I mean, at least his pants are kind of the same color as Lucario. Yeah, like I said, I feel that these characters don't have as much that you can see as connections in the same way the previous characters did. But that isn't to say that they're bad designs. They are meant as important parts of the story, so that should be reflected most. While the other characters who are part of the league are mostly meant to look cool, which they do. And so those have been the characters of Pokken Tournament. Honestly, when it comes to Pokemon spin-off games, we see these neat designs that don't tend to be as widely appreciated as the main series, when they're typically on the same level of quality. I think there's a fact that while Pokken is a cool game, most of the people playing it are there for the fighting gameplay, while the people who would typically draw fan art and post about characters online aren't playing it all that much. Or maybe it could even be just that the original game came out on Wii U, but I had fun looking back on them all and I kind of feel like playing this game again. So let me know what you think of these characters and which one is your favorite. Anyway, I've gotta go get good so I can hopefully be ready for a potential Pokken Tournament 2. Please. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, especially the Great Gators, Cheeseburger Lasers, Justin R, Cosmo Zero, Meme Supreme, Mochizuki Yoru, Nomad Nobi, Phantom, Quago, Taishirai, Volity, and Pastel Blood. If you would like to support, get your name shouted out here as well as access to emotes for comments, live streams, and sometimes early videos, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter as well for more memes. Anyway, this has been GatorX, I'll catch you all later.
The Lowdown chooses you
for a sneak peek of the Pokken Tournament game on Wii U.
You can choose to fight as one of 16 battle Pokemon.
There's Pikachu,
Lucario,
Machamp,
Blaziken. Go nuts and try out all 16 prized fighters.
Master simple button combinations to deliver Mewtwo's Hyper Beam and Psycho Cut.
If you get in trouble, call on your support Pokemon for an extra edge.
Then brawl on to become the pinnacle of the Ferrum League.
You just got the Lowdown on Pokken Tournament on Wii U.
Console sold separately. Rated everyone 10 and up.